Hello everybody, welcome. Today I want to talk about the Romanian deadlift, stiff leg deadlift in good morning and give you some basic tips on where to start and how to be relatively safe with them and kind of discuss some smaller nuanced details that kind of differentiates each of them from one another. Starting with the Romanian deadlift here, you'll notice I'm in an upright position, hands are about shoulder width apart, feet are about shoulder width apart as well. I got my upper back engaged, my back is also tight as well, and then you'll see I initiate the movement with just a slight knee bend. You'll notice as I start to descend, it is purely my butt that is going back, and only my butt going back. There's the only motion in the RDL that you're going to get from your joint is your hip motion. So it's just going to be that kind of bending over position. Your knees are going to stay in the same spot. Your back's going to stay in the same spot. It's purely motion that comes from the hips. Another very important aspect to the Romanian deadlift is keeping your lats tight, keeping that back tight so that the bar relatively just kind of glides down the front of your thigh to about the knee. And the position where you stop is going to be different for everybody due to your hamstring flexibility. Generally, what you'll want to feel is a very intense stretch on the hamstrings. Not a whole lot of pressure in the lower back, but there will be some pressure in the lower back due to it just being an isometric lower back movement. Then you'll initiate the finishing of the movement by squeezing the glutes and hamstrings. Now this is kind of a lower RDL, as you can see. I go a little bit lower, I get a little bit more lumbar flexion in the lower back. You can do this if you feel that your lower back is strong enough, but if you're dealing with any pain or anything in the lower back, I would kind of stray away from getting that lumbar flexion at the end of the RDL. So the next one we're going to look at here is your stiff-legged deadlift. I love the stiff-legged deadlift because it's really good at introducing load to the lower back and kind of that bent over position. Has a very high risk to reward ratio. There is a little bit more risk with this because, like I said, you're picking up weight in a little bit more of a compromised position. There is a chance of injury, but the reward you're getting is building a lot of lower back strength, hamstring strength, and glute strength as well. As you know, when you pick something up from the floor, you're not always in this perfect spine position. So what better way to train it than with actual weights at the gym and actually getting into those positions and starting to overload it. When setting up your stiff-legged deadlift, you want the feet about shoulder width apart, hands about shoulder width apart just outside the shins, and then you're going to set your lower back, you're going to engage it, squeeze the lats down and back in, and then you're also going to have just a slight bend in the knee. I prefer to have that. Kind of decreases how much spinal flexion you're going to have, and then also decreases some neural tension you'll feel as well. So once you get those positions hit, then you push your feet through the floor, drive the hips through, and squeeze the glutes. So if you've never done this movement, you want to start incorporating it. I recommend starting with a pretty light weight and just building some tolerance and really getting the technique down on this movement due to the fact that it is having a little bit more of a risk for lower back injury to it. But it is a great exercise for building that lower back strength, hamstring strength, glute strength, and just overall load tolerance in the lower lumbar spine and kind of that flex position. Last is the good morning, and I feel this movement gets a bad rap just because you see the videos of people online who perform this movement in the gym and they're not doing it correctly and their back's all out of whack and everything. But the only difference between the good morning and the Romanian deadlift is that the weights really just push the position on your upper back. It's kind of in that squat bar position. It's on the upper traps, and you're essentially doing the exact same thing you're doing with the RDL. You might have a little more knee bend sometimes with the good morning, but that's up for you to decide what feels the best for you. With this exercise, you're focusing on that hamstring development and also getting a really good isometric lower back contraction. So what I mean by that is that the lower back is having to work extra hard to hold that tight position because the torque that the weight is putting on the lower back is much greater in the good morning as compared to the RDL. Then the glute development is also very great for the good morning. So when starting your good morning, you want to go very slowly down to the bottom and really focus on hitting those nice good positions, feeling that good stretch in the hamstrings, and putting that stress on the lower back during this exercise. As you go, you have a slight bend in the knee to start, the hips shifts directly straight back, and then your back is staying tight the whole time. So once you've built confidence with the good morning and you've done this exercise for a while, don't be afraid to load this exercise up and really challenge yourself. I've done around 225 pounds on it, so it's a really good developer for the low back and just strengthening it for everything. A fun little dismount there. So thank you all for watching. I appreciate the support. Leave any questions you have in the comments or just directly reach out to me for any questions. Have a great day, and we'll see you later.